Hi there everyone, thanks to my new subscribers and to my old subscribers. So tonight I'm going to do how does he/she feel about you, pick a card. Of course you choose a number 1 or 2 and the timestamps are in the description box. So I'll just ask, how does he/she feel about my channel viewer? How does he/she feel about my channel viewer? So I get the impression here that there's an X in the mix. Quite a dark character. Somebody with a lot of earth in their chart. Some fire. But I get the impression here that there's been kind of a separation between your person and this other person in the past. But I feel that the relationship was based on wealth attainment goals. That's the impression I get. So it's the relationship's at an end and your person is just trying to put their focus into other things. I feel that they really focused on being distracted from the end of this relationship. There could be a child in the mix here. So somebody could have had a kid and it caused the end of the relationship. Because it seems to me your person is very sexually driven, and sometimes they can be attracted to dark characters. And I feel this woman, woman or man, they were attached to was a very envious character. Always with somebody very chatty, or there's somebody in their sphere that's very chatty. It could be a mother figure. But I feel this person gets their darkness from the person that's always with them. But they have been very successful in the past, and there is type of stability about them as well. But it kind of indicates to me spell work as well, and you know my take on spell work and that sort of thing, and then you know, spell work and secret societies and whatnot. So there's a darkness here, you know, I feel your person is somebody who has dabbled in the darkness, and that to me says that they've been enveloped in their ex's world or their former partner's world or their mother's world for a very long time. and it's rubbed off on them, or they have their own associations which are dark. Because the whole objective in this scenario is that they want notoriety, they want wealth, they want to conquer the universe, basically. They're very ambitious, and they just dabble in whatever they can dabble in, or to bolster their situations. So it's had a negative effect, because basically it's meant that things have ended, cycles are at an end, and it could be affecting their moods, so they're up and down in their moods as well. Because whatever this energy is, and I'm not talking about like psychology or a psychological response to something. I'm more talking in terms of the energy that they draw to them, and the energy that they kind of expend, the aura. So it's been affected by shadow work. So sometimes you'll get the very grounded person who they probably are as a personality, and then you'll get the very dark character, and then you'll get the very excitable character. But your person is very much, if you're saying to me, no, they don't really seem like they're involved in any of that, then this is a type of energy that's around them. So this is a type of energy that takes an interest in them, because I feel that your person is somebody that has some recognition attached to them in whatever they do, and I feel they've attracted some dark entities to them. So there's a couple of scenarios here, or a few, more than a few, but of course that doesn't always necessarily have to be the case. But sometimes it's just a mood. You have negative people around you, and it puts you in a bad mood from time to time, and it becomes like a response. And I feel that I get that there's more to it, because it shows a person, it shows their negativity, it shows that they can be dark or they can be light, and it shows a kid in the mix. So I feel like whoever's having the kid and whoever destroyed the relationship is pretty much a snake, an envious snake. And I feel that your person met this person around those negative influences. So your person has a lot of distractions. Like, I feel they're trying to get to the big smoke, and that tells me that they're really trying hard. They really have a lot of irons in the fire. They really are tryhards. They're pushing forward all the time. And this is also what can cause their dark moods. They're pushing forward all the time, and they're not getting much out of it, but a bit of sex and a kid. It's like the double-edged sword effect. So I feel that it's your person's gone through like a lot of endings and a lot of beginnings, and it could be that they've gone through some dark times, and so they focus their energies. Sometimes they focus their energies on the dark, because basically life's throwing them lemons, and they feel that this kid in the mix is a lemon, which is not very nice. But I feel that's their resentment. I feel that's the resentment in them, if there's a child in the mix. The other thing it can be is a new project. So they managed to get a new project underway, either in their career or in their, just in their situation. And it's not as exciting to them as they were hoping. Like they accepted something that's basically boring them, or puts them in a mood anyway, because I feel they have to work very hard to get this project underway. And they feel like it's going to grow into something quite special. But I feel like there's somebody in the mix, and I feel it's yourself, who's going to help this situation, who's going to lift them out of their dark space, because at the moment they're just distracting themselves from whatever happened in the past, whether it was a breakage in a work situation, whether it was a breakage in a family situation, or whether it was a breakage in a relationship situation. They've separated themselves from something, they've started a new project, or they have a kid on the way. These are the types of things that kind of happen when you have a death and rebirth, because brand new things come to the fore, and that can be looked at on scale. So you could have a new kid on the way, you could have a new project underway, you could have a new business underway, you could have a new job underway. So all of that is happening, and they're working very hard towards their achievements. The thing is that they were badly affected by whoever this crone was from their past, because she's not a light character, she's a dark character. And the reason she's dark is because she's involved in something that brings her wealth, something dark that brings her wealth. That could be an attitude. Maybe she's a real bitch, and that's how she gets her money, by being a bitch. The other thing is, she could just have a side to her personality which is very dark at times, but gets her what she wants. And the other thing is, she could be involved in something like shadow work and that sort of thing. Could be a combination of things. Could be affected by shadow work. So I feel that your person has been affected by shadow work. Whether they're involved directly or indirectly, they're affected, because they themselves have an ambition, But funnily enough, you are showing up as the hero in this mix. They're going to, this energy that they're trying to work off so that their heart doesn't break over whatever's happened in the past, is going to diminish, and it's going to transmute into a more like a swords energy, and they're going to start feeling hurt. So they haven't had time to recover from whatever's happened. I feel that this is a very egotistical character and got caught up in an egotistical world. So they've involved themselves obviously with a snake, and they do whatever the snake tells them to do, and this snake's just out for themselves and are envious, very envious person that tries to climb to the top of a very small hill all of the time, an anthill. And that's all this snake does, climbs to the top of the anthill and slides back down, basically. So it tells me that they're willing to squash a lot of mounds to get to where they want to get to. And that can be looked at on a more personal level. You know, could be a lady girlfriend with, or a girlfriend on the side with ambition, or it could be a new job or a new project. You would know what that is, I'm sure. So all this energy that's being expended is about to transmute. I feel that you've already conquered the devil in this mix. You can see the devil, you know who it is, you conquered it. In a respect. Because it's like you've gone through what they've gone through. You know from experience in this setup what works and what doesn't, who is who in the zoo kind of thing, you know, who's who in the zoo. That's the type of energy that you're giving off here. So you're very cautious, I feel like. You're very watchful. It's like you're going to claw that snake off of your person. That's the impression I get. Because I feel that you really are this person's brightest light, but they're heavily distracted and things have gone down. There's some shadow work in the mix, and that always affects things. So it's very much showing me here that your person is going to start feeling things because they're about to come back down to earth with a thud, basically. They're about to feel a lot smaller, and you're about to look a lot bigger to them. And so I feel that their impression or their thought that this is a third-party situation into the future will upset them. Because I feel that you will become kind of like a focus, a strength to them. Somebody who shows a lot of leadership, somebody who shows intolerance to the dark or to negativity. And that's what this person lacks. They lack perspective. Because I feel they're like caught up in the bubble. And if they step away from the bubble, then they probably wouldn't really want to be involved in what they're involved in, whether it's having negative people around them or whether it's they're directly involved in some weird thing, some, you know, society which is a bit on the dark side, whatever. So it shows me that you're the independent, strong, happy force in their life that they need. They will feel very happy about you both while they're going through their grief process, because this is about grief. A lot of things have ended for them and they haven't been accepting it because they've been heavily distracted. But now they have to face that grief, because this person from their past was there for quite a long time, but I feel it's not just one thing they've been separated from in the past, it's several things. So I really get the impression that you are their hope. But the way you became their hope is because you took a very independent, positive stance. You took a strong stance. And I feel it was just rejecting their shit. I don't feel that you've rejected them per se, but you're like, that sounds like, I feel that your perspective on it is, oh, that sounds like a bit of a mess, you know? And they're like, oh, la-di-da, look at me, you know, big stuff. And you're like, you better sort that out. So I feel that you take a very strong stand against whatever's going on in this situation. So I feel like, you know, there's going to be some kind of physical chance between you, some kind type of physical coincidence which will push them back into the grief process, back into feeling upset or hurt after a very distracting time. So that tells me that's healthy, because they will no longer feel like they're big stuff. You know, this kind of tells me, with all this darkness here in these cards, that there was a lot of negativity towards you, perhaps. And you've always remained independent of whatever negativity they've imposed on you. So it tells me very clearly that into the future, your person gets back to basics. They get back to what counts. They start graduating back into the light again after a dark time in their lives. And I feel that's where you are important here. They will, into the future, have a very strong sexual desire towards you, which tells me they will be extremely attracted to you, but also fear failure. So it tells me that they'll fear your strength of character. So there must be some type of action you take which is very impressive, because they seem to, all this, you know, ego seems to diminish, and they become more humble around you. But it tells me also that there could be another separation between you in the future, and that will cause regret in your person, because it's like they have their chance and they're not taking advantage of their chance, and you just move into another separation. But there is the possibility here that there could be a physical type of exchange which humbles them. So I'd say, basically, given the character here that is in front of me, it's a very strong sexual desire, but there's also a little bit of a shadow side to your person, and they've got a lot going on, and I've suggested some things that could be going on, but it seems like they're pretty heavy. It's pretty heavy stuff. It's not stuff that they would be dealing with if they didn't delve into the shadow side of things, or if they didn't have shadow workers around them, or negative, which means if they didn't have negative people around them that were causing dark moods and anger and a lot of but it doesn't explain like this sexual side desire in them. That's why I'm saying obviously they've had some negative stuff happen in the past, and they've transmuted all of that energy into their sexual desires, and what's happened is things have happened which they didn't really want to happen, and or they've taken on projects which they're hoping will develop, but they're not really too keen on, you know, because there's negative people around. So it tells me here that You're the person they should be looking up to. You've always been the person they've been attracted to, and you're the person, or maybe not always, but you're the person that they should be focusing on, and they will focus on you into the future. But what it shows is that they may miss their chance because they weren't present when they needed to be present. But I do feel there has to be some kind of physicality here into the future between you, and exchange where you take a very independent stance, and it automatically diminishes this ego in them. So I feel presently they're working hard, and they have a few things, new projects underway. And they'll still be dark into the future, but they'll be working on their light, and I think that's what's important. Your positivity and your sense of independence will raise them up. Because you're really intolerant of shadow work or the dark side, or you really can't stand it. I get in these cards, you know, bad juju, whatever. You're not, you know, you can't really fathom it. It's either something you don't fathom and something you ignore, or something you're aware of and something you don't like. Because it seems to me you really put this person in their place in the future. Because the hurt doesn't look to be on their side. You might feel disappointed into the future about the outcome after all is said and done. But I don't feel it's you who will be most upset, it's them. Because it's as if, you know, they have an opportunity and they miss an opportunity that they wanted, and they miss the point of it because they're too caught up in this darkness. You know, they're too caught up in somebody from their past, or people from their past who have their own agenda and basically are dark. So they're all, I feel just presently, you know, there's an anger in them. You know, there's type of a revenge mentality in them. And that's going to be their downfall, because you're going to waltz in at some point and show them the way, and it will be too late. Because they were too caught up in revenge tactics. And there's these, and too caught up in their ego. And that could be towards you as well. And I get this strong impression here that there haven't been nice things said or done, and you've just decided to take a very strong approach to this person, even though you like them very much, because this third party situation won't be to your taste. And I feel that you'll be very firm about that. So there could be some type of exchange which makes it clear to this person that what's acceptable to them isn't acceptable to you. But the feeling on their side is one of deep-seated sexual attraction. And I feel you're sexually attracted to them as well. But you're a lot more faithful than them. You're a lot more independent in your mental processes. And maybe that sense of leadership is what's lacking in this person. Because you're a person that really promotes the light. You don't promote the dark. And it could, whatever exchange you have could remind them of that fact of what it is exactly they should be following. You know, what take they should have in approach to their problems, in approach to life. Because this darkness is too deep-seated, too enveloping, you know. And it's oppressing them as well. I feel they do have a faith, and this is where the conflict lies. They do have a strong faith, you know, but they also have tolerated the dark. And of course, if you're going to draw a fine line, it's, you know, it doesn't really work out that well, you know. So it's a perspective that your person has. It's like a ambition and a perspective which ultimately could see their downfall if they don't change their perspective. And you're the person that will be showing them that perspective. So I feel that they are sexually attracted to you. They're extremely egotistical, and I feel that you need to reconsider their attitude towards you, because it wasn't very nice. And sometimes even presently it's not very nice, even though they know you're the one for them. Okay, so that was deck 1. If this reading resonated, please like, share, subscribe and comment. If you would like a personal reading, my details are in the description box below with a link to my website and to my Fiverr account. My website is a PayPal service, so you can send me the funds with a message or you can email me. My Fiverr account is a service facility, and you need your Google details or your Facebook details to log into that facility. See you next time. Hi there everyone, this is deck 2. How does he/she feel about my channel viewer? So this is how does he/she feel about you? Pick a card. How does he/she feel about my channel viewer? How does he/she feel about my channel viewer? So I feel there's going to be a reconciliation with your person. You've had a lot of struggle here though with this person, and it's because there's somebody in their life who is quite, well, let me define this. There was someone in their life in the past who was quite dark, and it's a theme throughout this reading where this person has separated you in the past, has made a point of separating you, has made a point of telling big untruths about you to keep you apart. That's the impression I get. And if they're not telling untruths, then your person has been under the thumb of this person. And I feel that you've really been, well, up in your emotions lately. You've been happy, but I feel you're just trying to work through what this connection is, and you're never getting to the answer. The reason you're not getting to the answer is because there's a strong separation between you, and you have to rely on your emotions basically to get you through the day in this connection. So it tells me you feel it's a strong connection. But you also feel the darkness. I feel, you know, this person from the past was oppressive. Like, I feel that your person sees you as a person who's oppressed, and they also see you as a you also see them as someone who's been oppressed. So I get the impression here that this person's trying to do their darndest to interfere in your destiny, or they make up some story about you having to follow a particular path, or I just get the impression you're this person's nemesis, and your person has come across this person or been affected by them. Because they're pretty lifeless in a lot of respects. There's not a lot going on there, you know. They tend to think in the past that you were just subjected to, it was like a bit of a game of cat and mouse, you know. And there's some threat in the past, some fear, some threat, arguments. And I feel your person is really just trying to find the answers, you know. Does she like me? Does she not? Why is this person warding me off? Why is this person saying those things? Or why do I pick up this energy? That sort of thing. But your person is definitely under the thumb of somebody. It can be talkative. But I also feel it's somebody who is not so much jealous, but controlling and bitchy, or smart with their mouth. You know, it's like it's a prettiness thing, you know. It's a difference in your, the looks of you. And I feel it has a lot to do with your hair colour. So you definitely have a different hair colour to this person. And I feel like something about your look makes them jealous. So I guess it has to be an envy-based thing, but it doesn't show. I more get it's like a natural bitchiness in this person. So I don't know how this person can be connected to your person, but it shows them up very strongly. You know, I often talk about it can be a range of people, can be like a mother figure or an aunt figure, can be a girlfriend figure, can be just a person in their sphere, that sort of thing. But somebody who takes an interest in you and tells a lot of lies about you and has an intention to be cruel and is very threatening. But somebody who's very separate to you, especially in physicality, whereas you're more grounded, you're freer than this person. This person has wings, but not wings to fly. You know, it's like they're This person wears a face which is very bright and happy, but really they're just not nice. So I feel this, whoever was around your person in the past had a real intention to spite you. And I'm not sure you know about this person either. And if you do know about them, because I feel that it's just a fresh understanding. That's the impression I get, a fresh understanding. And so you're just doing as you would normally do. You know, it shows here you're the wise one in the situation. You're the happy, bright and grounded person in the situation that has, and a loyal person who has something to offer this man or this woman. So whoever this person was, it shows up as a female figure, but it can be a man figure, puts on a face to everyone, but only has, as the card indicates, only has a perception of you but not a reality. Of course, that's always dangerous. So I feel that this person's trying to, like, I don't know, upset you in some way, or very controlling, but trying to undermine your confidence, something like that. But it seems to me you're a very strong character in the mind, and you really don't pay attention to this person because you understand your placement in the world, and you understand the meaning of your destiny in some respects, and you understand how to control those emotions and even how to control this person. Because the reason I can see that you've won out in this situation is because this person shows up as a woman, is in the past. She's not a factor. She is kind of a factor in this reading because she domineers it, but she's not, she's losing her influence. And I feel it has a lot to do with the fact that you've been listening to yourself and your inner guidance, and it's led you forward. It's led you into a sphere that this person didn't expect. And it's also, whatever you did, turned this person's destiny and turned this person's confidence. So it tells me very clearly here that it's a Aesop fable in a respect. You know, it's like the tortoise and the hare or something, but I don't feel you're in competition. You certainly weren't, but maybe this person was. So you would know what that means if there are competitive women around, if there's a competitive mother, if there's a competitive girlfriend or ex-wife, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. You're just trying to get the truth. You feel you don't have the truth about this situation. You understand a lot about it. You understand there's a darkness in this person. You understand there's darkness involved in this association, but you're trying to remain positive. So you feel you're not getting the truth about the person that you're interested in, and they feel that they're not getting the truth about you. They know some more things about you, and I feel that you just have to wait. This is really a waiting game until this person heals, because a lot's gone down. Some things that haven't been very nice, some things, some very controlling behavior. if it isn't controlling behavior, it's like a type of misunderstanding that's gone on for a very long time. Whereas it shows me that you're a lot more grounded in your outlook, whereas this person who was trying to cause a trouble around you and your person doesn't really have a grasp of reality. They have a grasp of their imaginary pursuit and what it means to them. They're probably a little bit borderline as well, so they're up and down. And I feel that's what you're finding it hard to grasp. You're like, is this person an extension of my person? And if so, is my person as bad as that? That's the type of feeling you get. And that's why you're in this state of confusion, because you feel you're getting no truth, no clarity. But it's like this person just expects to have control over people, expects to not have to use words against you, can just infer it. And that, to me, that tells me that this person is probably in a position of power in some respect over your person. So no wonder you're confused. But I also feel the strength, the support around you is strong, very strong. But this is somebody that hides himself away most of the time, you know. It's never somebody that would go up to your face and say something. This is very much a maligned character that is very passive in their approach. And you're a very open character who deals with the snakes on a daily basis and kind of just ignores this character if you can, but you know they're weighing heavily, you know, on you. So I feel that it's and whatever this person has done in the past, it's leading to their instability, because I feel that you've done something to turn this behavior. You've done something. But also your person thinks about the reality, how there's a reality to your connection now, where before it was a little bit of a dream or an imagination. So I get the impression there was a very quick turnaround in your association. And I also get from this that you still make your person supremely happy. It's like you were the upright person, the light in their dark. You were the light in their dark. They're still conquering the situation, which tells me this person has some degree of control, but they're losing that control. So I get the impression here that it could have been very well a third-party situation. It doesn't show up as that presently. It doesn't really show up as that in the past, but it definitely shows that this person had quite a strong influence over your person, and that's what dominates their thoughts. They're just thinking about how they're quite upset because they didn't succeed at getting their happiness back. You know, it's like they're thinking of your separation very seriously, and there's I feel this person has tried very hard to get back to you and has just managed to do that, but probably in at arm's length. So you may have not seen this person yet, but you will into the future. There is that possibility. I feel though it's just going to take some time because they've lost a bit of their confidence. The reason they've lost their confidence is because whoever this person was in their ear, yap, and basically told a lot of fibs and a lot of lies and bitched on and, did whatever with their smiling face or whatever, and depleted their confidence, made them uncertain about the person that you were, first of all, but also this person made them uncertain about their next steps because they always feel very happy around you, or when they're very happy when they're thinking about you, but something about thinking about you now makes them feel a little bit down. But the best thing about this reading is that they have confidence in the physicality between you, in what they feel when they're near you, when they see you. So it gives me the impression that they're kind of watching you from afar, but they haven't approached you. And I feel they saw you somewhere at night. Because they are watching you, they are observing you, they want to know. Or alternatively, they have somebody else watching you because they want their confidence back, they want their happy back. And that's the best way to describe your connection. You are their happiness. So I'm not surprised, if they were oppressed, like the card says to me they were in the past, and they had some type of warped perception of you over a long period of time, and then it became a reality, then certainly you can see how that would have changed their notions about you and how that would have made them happy should you have been the person they always imagined you to be. But in this case, you were much more. You kind of met their dreams and beyond you met their wildest dreams, I feel. But there's a groundedness to it. It's like they'd been thinking over you for so long and they wanted to reconnect or connect. So for some people, this is like a childhood connection, or an old flame, or somebody you knew when you were younger. That's a possibility, because this deck shows me very clearly that you are going to reconcile. There is going to be an offering of love to you. But at the moment, your person is just assessing the situation. The reason they're assessing the situation is because, this domineering person from their past was all over them and they couldn't break free except for just recently. They're just lifting themselves out of that oppression. So I get the impression here that into the future, you get a renewed understanding of this person and their feelings for you, their loyalty towards you and their devotion. But also it tells me that this whole setup where they're trying to escape, whoever controlled them before, is going to affect them somewhat. So it could mean the destabilization of your connection, and the only reason it would mean that is because your person's taking a really long time to get going. And I feel that if they become distracted again, then that will drag out the timing of your reconnection, and things will start destabilizing, particularly on your side, where you're in a confused state. You don't know who or what you're dealing with in terms of their feelings. You thought you knew, but you feel you've thought over it so much that you're kind of in a very cloudy space about this person, and you just want to let it go in some respects. But your intuition tells you to just keep it real. That's what your intuition is telling you. But there is also a different aspect that you want to let this person go. That could be some bad juju in the mix, because that's what this really shows, this whole setup. So it could work against you both, the length of time this person's going to take to reinstigate your friendship. But there is a lot of healing here. There is a reconciliation, there's healing. There's a declaration of friendship, there's devotion, there's loyalty. There's a lot of support on your side. I feel that the biggest interfering factor on their side is the fact that they have no support. You know, that's why they're more observational than they are proactive. Because they've been told so much and it's undermined their confidence. They've always understood so much and that's undermined their understanding of you. They have this physical understanding now, which has changed things again. They do want to know what you're up to. They're very curious about it. But whatever oppressed state where they were in for so long is still affecting them now, and it will still affect them into the future. You, on the other hand, are going through your healing process, but I feel that if you can get this thing back together, which I feel like you can, I feel there's going to be a reconciliation. I feel it will be on your part that you make it okay for them as opposed to the other way around, because they're going to be a bit uncertain, unstable in their emotions. But it shows very clearly that I feel you have to do some energy work, because whatever she's up to, you know, bad luck follows, basically, you know. But I feel we've seen this character before, and she's just very convincing, you know, like, whereas you don't need to be convinced of anything. You know who and what you are, and you have a lot of support. And I feel that's the difference. This person has never had any support except from probably this person in the past. And so it's warped their view of everything. And it will mean that they still feel a little bit unstable into the future when they want to try and reconcile. But it tells me very clearly that you are definitely on a path to healing from this connection. Even though there's love, even though there's the potential for this to turn into something real, which I think is the biggest potential in this deck. Because on his side, it was big old, like, this is kind of a person that has loved you for a very long time, but never does anything about it. Whereas you're different. You just live in a kind of very real world. But they were probably, and most likely, grew up in a world where they had to use their logic or their rational side. So they didn't always want to access those emotions, or they couldn't. So it tells me that your person is getting a reality on things, and there will have to be some more work done. But beyond this deck, it's looking better on their side. It's looking like they're finally getting out of this person's secrets and lies. You know, they're finally getting the facts, and they're making use of them. They're not quite at the point where they can exercise that knowledge, but it seems to me that as these cards move on, we'll just see what they move on to. Yeah. Their reality changes. Yeah. Into something responsible, grounded, practical. And they actually want to then do something about their desire for you. So I feel that it's a matter of maturity here, but not just maturing out of maturing as a person in terms of age, but maturing out of an understanding, a way of life. So I feel that there's a little way to go, but you're going to get there. And your emotions will reignite once they come back to you as a mature and understanding person. Once they break free for good from this oppressive energy. Okay, so that was deck 2. If this reading resonated, please like, share, subscribe and comment. If you would like a personal reading, my details are in the description box below with a link to my website and to my Fiverr account. My website is a PayPal service, so you can send me the funds with a message or you can email me. My Fiverr account is a service facility, and you need your Google details or your Facebook details to log into that facility. See you next time.